displaying the glory of God's creation by visiting every state park, national park, and national forest in the contiguous 48 states. Welcome to Parking Full Time with Big Dave the Parker.
First hole, 285 feet. It's a par 3. It plays slightly downhill, and there is a single tree guarding the front right side of the basket up here. There's also a concrete walled drainage canal off to the left, and that definitely could come into play with a bad throw or with a big gust of wind. I want to welcome you back to Parking Full Time. I am Big Dave the Parker. We were at Will Rogers Park. We are on the northwest side of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. There's the first basket and the view back to the tee. Second hole is 240 feet. It's a par 3, and it plays kind of the opposite direction of hole number 1. There are a couple of small trees over here on the right-hand side, and so probably a left to right disc flight is preferred, although there is a bike path off to the left. And so if you catch a big gust of wind or leave it out too far to the left, that could come into play. Basket's in an interesting position here, kind of in the bottom of a little swale. Third hole is another short hole. It's 170 feet. It's a par 3, and it plays in a direction that is perpendicular to the first two holes. Hole direction is very important on this course because this is Oklahoma, and therefore the wind is almost always a factor here. There's the third basket. This is an aceable hole with a really good throw. Fourth hole is 275 feet. It is a par 3. A lot of these holes are pretty short and pretty open, but again, you have to remember the wind. The wind is almost going to be a factor here. I captured this video on Wednesday, April the 19th. The temperature was in the mid-70s, and wind was a factor. You can see the wind blowing the trees and the branches on the trees around here. It also blew my gimbal around a little bit, and you saw a little bit of that earlier on this hole, and you'll see more of that throughout the course. First time I've ever had that happen. The first time I've ever had the wind blow the gimbal around. Fifth hole is 212 feet. It's a par 3, and it plays right up or down this little ravine. There are a couple of trees in play on this hole, but for many of these holes, the only real defense they have is the terrain, which is moderate but not extreme, and also the wind, which can be extreme. You can see the basket up here. In fact, sometimes the wind is really the only defense that this type of course needs. This hole is probably the most sheltered hole of any on this course from the wind. Hole number 6 plays back downhill. It is 227 feet. It is a par 3. And there are a couple of trees on this hole, including one right in front of the basket here. And so probably the best idea is to bring your disc in from the left. That's what I did on this hole. There's just enough obstacles on this course that you have to flight your disc occasionally. This is one of the times you have to do that. Basket's perched on top of a little pile of bricks here, which makes putting more interesting. I like that. Seventh hole plays back up the hill. It is 211 feet, and it is a par 3. This is the most uphill hole we've seen so far, and possibly the most uphill hole on the course, although there's one on the back nine that's pretty uphill as well. Again, there are no obstacles between the tee and the basket, but do not underestimate the wind here. The wind is a serious factor on this course. It was on the day that I came here, and it is fairly frequently. There's the view back down the fairway. Hole number 8 is 330 feet. It plays back across the ravine, and it is a par 3. One other thing I will mention about this course actually dates to 1979. It is not the oldest course that I am aware of, but it is the oldest course that I have walked about so far. And while this isn't the greatest course, it is a solid recreational course. And considering it dates to 1979, it's actually held up pretty well for its age. There's the 8th basket here cut into the hillside. And there's the view back to the tee. 9th and final hole on the front 9. It is 271 feet. It plays slightly downhill, and it is a par 3. Since this is the last hole on the front 9, I want to thank you for watching. Parking full time would not be anything without the people who watch. I realize that every day, and I thank you every day. There's this one battle-scarred tree here, right in front of the basket, and that is the park road behind the basket, although you'd have to overshoot by quite a bit in order for that to come into play. If you like this sort of thing, please click the thumbs up button and the subscribe button. That helps other people find this video and encourages me to bring more of this sort of thing your way. That's the end of the front 9. I will see you on the back 9.